Hello everyone, welcome to Social Science class. Today's session we will start with a question. Do you have a kitchen garden? If the answer is yes, who developed that kitchen garden which has number of vegetable plants and flowering plants? Of course the answer is you. But have you ever thought how the trees have come up in the forest? How the grass grow in the grasslands? How this such thing happen? About all these things we will study in this chapter. So my dear students, today we are starting new chapter in geography, that is natural vegetation and wildlife. So the first question which should come in our mind, that what is natural vegetation? If a farmer growing crops, is that natural vegetation? Are the plants which are there in the backyard of your home, is that natural vegetation? Or the plants which are in the forest, or the trees which are there in the forest, that is the natural vegetation. So what criteria clearly defines the meaning of the word natural vegetation? When we say natural vegetation, it means that natural vegetation grow naturally, means all the plants which grow naturally without human aid. So this plant, this vegetation will include trees also, will include grass also, or will include even the shrubs as well. So all these things which have grown naturally without human aid, and they have been left undisturbed by humans. The humans have not modified them, and such type of vegetation we call the natural vegetation. So in a definition we can define it, the natural vegetation refers to the plants which grow naturally without human aid and have left undisturbed by humans. Natural vegetation is also termed as the virgin vegetation. This natural vegetation may be endemic vegetation or exotic vegetation. Now, endemic vegetation means what? The vegetation which is purely Indian, that has grown right from the beginning in India itself. That sort of vegetation is known as the endemic or indigenous. And the some type of plants would have come from outside India, from other countries. That type of vegetation is termed as the exotic vegetation. Next important terms to understand are flora and fauna. Now what is flora? Flora refers to the plants of a particular region. All the type, for example, all the type of trees, plants, etc., which are found in Udaipur. So that will be the flora of Udaipur region. Likewise, all the species of animals are termed as the fauna. So fauna generally depends on the flora of that particular region. Now the question arises, what are the different factors which affect flora and fauna? The factors affecting flora and fauna can be classified in two ways. First, relief, and second, climate. Now, relief again further subdivided as land and soil. Now land here means we are talking about the topography or the physical features of land, like mountains, plateaus, plains, etc. If you observe carefully the vegetation in the mountainous area, if you visit Himachal Pradesh, that is a mountainous area. So the trees which you will find there will always be different from the trees which are found in our Rajasthan. Then soil also affect the vegetation. If you visit the sandy area, just like desert, where there is a sandy soil, so you will find cactus and the thorny plants soil. If you visit the Sundarban area, where there is a deltaic soil, so there you will find the mangroves. So the plant or the vegetation also depends on the soil which is there. Then climate. Climate, there are three things: temperature, photo period, and precipitation. Now, temperature. Temperature mainly is affected by two things. First, latitudinal variation, and second, altitudinal variation. Now, latitudinal means what? When we are moving from equator to the poles, temperature decreases, right? Likewise, when we are climbing a mountain, then also temperature decreases. As we are going higher and higher, temperature decreases. And as there is variation in temperature, the type of vegetation will also keeps on changing, right? This is what the temperature, because all the plants require a certain degrees of temperature for their growth. Then photo period, you all know photosynthesis. Now for photosynthesis, all the plants require sunlight, right? So when I say photo period, means I am referring to the duration of sunlight which the plants get. Say for example, the tropical rainforest. These here the trees are very tall. What is the reason behind it? There is enough sunlight and water. Do you know that during the summer season plants grow more rapidly? Why? This is the sunlight. So that's what the photo period is. Then third thing, precipitation. Now what is precipitation? Precipitation is the falling of condensed water vapor in the form of rainfall or snowfall. If heavy rainfall, then evergreen forest. Medium rainfall, deciduous forest. Then next to that there will be grasslands. And if there is very less rainfall, desert. So precipitation always affect the vegetation of an area. Now we will talk about the major types of vegetation found in India. Let's begin first of all with the tropical evergreen forest. Now, why evergreen? They remain green throughout the year. There is no definite time for them to shed the leaves. Throughout the year they shed their leaves and new leaves also sprout. So that's why they look always green. That's why we also call them tropical evergreen forest. Why does this happen? First of all, such type of forests are found in those areas which receive rainfall more than 200 centimeters. So in our India, wherever the rainfall is more than 200 centimeters, just think which are these areas. Western Ghats, western part of this, then island groups getting this area, then Assam, Tamil Nadu. So wherever the rainfall is more than 200, these are some of the areas having rainfall more than 200 centimeter, and such areas will have the evergreen forest. What are the features of it? In the evergreen forest, there are tall trees up to 60 meters, and they are multi-layered. Multi-layered means there are shrubs, there are creepers like this, small, then bigger than that, like this, layers. So this is the most important feature of the evergreen forest. As already mentioned, there is no definite time to shed the leaves, and that's why they always appear evergreen. And these are the different areas where they are found. Next to evergreen, we have deciduous forest. These deciduous forests are also called monsoon forest. They are called monsoon forest because in the dry seasons they shed all their leaves, and when the monsoon appears, when the rainfall comes, they again become green, and that's why they are also termed as the monsoon forest. These forests shed their leaves for about 6 to 8 weeks in the dry summer. During the dry season, it is just a kind of adaptation because there is scarcity of water and they have to remain alive. So, to reduce transpiration, they shed their leaves. Then They can be further divided in two parts, moist deciduous and dry deciduous. Moist deciduous forests are found in the areas which receive rainfall between 100 centimeter to 200 centimeter, and dry deciduous forests are found between 70 to 100 centimeter rainfall annually. The most important trees of these forests are teak, sal, shisham, neem, etc. Most of our country is covered by the tropical deciduous forest, right from the foothills of the Himalayas, then some part of this Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, most part of the India is covered by the tropical deciduous forest. Next to deciduous forest, we have the thorn forest and the scrub. Scrub is that area that is covered by small shrubs and thorny plants. These type of forests are found in those areas having the rainfall less than 70 centimeter. Means such areas will have a very less rainfall, that is not enough for the plants to grow like, and that can be converted into trees. So this here is you will find only shrubs and other plants, small plants only. Then it is found in the northwestern part of India, that is covering Rajasthan, Gujarat, some part of Madhya Pradesh, etc. Then the main plants of the thorn forest are acacias, just like baboons, then palms, just like date palms, then euphorbias. These euphorbias are mostly used for making fences around the agricultural fields. These plants are well adapted to the dry climatic conditions, and that's why these plants in the thorn forest have long roots, so they can absorb water from deep inside the earth. They have succulent stems. Succulent stem means they can store water in their stem, and that help them to survive. They have thick leaves and thorns. Thick leaves also help them to survive in the extreme dry or hot conditions. And sometimes in the place of leaves there are thorns. They also reduce trust. These all are the different type of adaptation which the plants in the thorn forest have. Next to that is the mountain or mountainous forest. Now what happens in the mountains? As we move higher and higher on the mountain, temperature decreases. And with the decrease in temperature, there is a variation in the vegetation found there as well. Let's begin with the bottom, around 1000 to 2000 meter of height. There we will find wet temperate type of forest which have broad leaf, and the most important trees which are found in this at this height, that is the oak and chestnut. Then as we move a little bit further than that, further higher, then we have temperate, which we call the coniferous trees, means having the cone shaped trees, that are found approximately between 1500 to 3000 meter of height. And the most important trees found here are pine, deodar, silver fir, etc. Then further we move upward, then around 3600 meter we have the alpine vegetation. What happens that after 3000 meter the height of the trees start becoming shorter and shorter and shorter, and ultimately that is the alpine vegetation. There we will find the alpine grasslands, and on these grasslands there are two tribes, remember them, Gujars and Bakarwal. These tribes belong to Jammu and Kashmir. These tribes graze their animal on the alpine grasslands. Then after that, at the end, we will have tundra, that is covered by the snow. But during summer, when little bit snow melts, then you will find only the mosses and lichens. No other type of vegetation is found. And the last of all, the mangrove forest. The mangrove forests are also called the tidal forest because such type of forests are found in the coastal areas which are drained by the tides. These forests have a specialty, they can even survive in the salty water. Their roots always remain in water. These tides accumulate their mud and silt that help them to survive. Such type of forests are mainly found in the deltas of the Ganga, the Mahanadi, the Krishna and the Kaveri, all on the eastern coastal areas. The Ganga Brahmaputra Delta, which is the biggest delta, also known as Sundarban in the world. This delta is known for the Royal Bengal tiger. That's all in today's lesson. Thank you and have a nice day.